Hey, hi, welcome back to the Carriage House Woodshop. Today we're going to look at choosing the right blade for the job. Some of the blades that you would choose for the job would be, first of all, I guess, choosing the right tool that would house that blade. As an example, this monster up here is a two-man saw for cutting down big trees. I mentioned that this was my grandfather's saw from the turn of the century, and you can tell that it's about the turn of the century because it has a curved back. All the newer ones now have this straight back, have better handles than what they used to have as well. So some other types of saws that we would use would be the jigsaw, handheld jigsaw, and with the various types of blades. And this is called a sawzall, more used in construction type work. Another type of saw that they use as a blade is a bandsaw. The bandsaw has a circular saw like this, comes in different sizes, thinner ones for cutting sharper corners, fatter ones for cutting whiter wood. And this is a scroll saw, table mounted scroll saw, which has, for doing little fine work, which has little teeny blades.
Go ahead.
This is the radial arm saw, and this is the table saw. They both use these circular blades. Choosing the right blade for the job is important. If you're going to do a cross cut, across the grain, you want a certain type of blade. If you're going to be ripping a long board, big heavy board, you want another type of blade. If you use the wrong blade and you're cutting like plywood, you can see that it will chip and not give you a clean cut. Okay, the blades have different types of teeth. These are the teeth of a blade. And you'll notice that various types of blades have different types of teeth. The more teeth per blade, the finer the cut. This one will trim plywood without giving us those chips. This is a general purpose. It's kind of a general one that could be used for most all jobs and do a rather good job. But if you want a specific blade for a specific job, then you use one of these others. This is a ripping blade. If you're going to rip big pieces of wood, you would use a big blade like this. Wobble tooth. A wobble tooth, will as it turns, wobbles back and forth. So it'll cut dado cuts. And if you turn the middle, you can adjust it to the different sizes that you want your tooth to wobble, either greater amounts or lesser amounts. That's for dado cutting. The kerf is the slant of the teeth. So as an example, you can see here that one tooth slants this way, one tooth slants that way. And by having slanted teeth going each direction, it actually makes a wider cut of wood than what this piece of metal is, just because the teeth are slanted. Therefore, it will cut through the wood and give you a lot of clearance as you go through. It won't bind.
Too soon. Okay, go ahead.
The bigger dips in a blade are called the gullets. The purpose of the gullet is as your blade is cutting through your wood, it will throw the chips out of the way as you're getting to each of these sections. Let me show you the use of this set of dado blades. The first thing that you have to do before you change a blade is to disconnect the cord that provides electricity so no accident can happen. The second thing you do is remove the cover that protects the blade and your fingers. Next, you take out the blade by putting in this tool, slipping over the nut. Put a piece of wood here to stop the blade from advancing. And once it's loosened, you can take it out by hand. In using these dado blades, there are multiple teeth that you can select from depending on the width of the dado that you want. So you want to use these two as your inside and outside, and you fill it with other teeth depending on how wide you want your dado. So, slip one at a time. It says the rotation of the saw will be this direction, so we'll put that there. Then we'll put a set of teeth there. We'll space it a little bit. We'll put another set of teeth to make it even a wider dado. And then we'll put our outside set. You want the teeth to be separated like this so they're fairly even, not all bunched up together. And then we just put our nut back on. Wrench in here and give it a good tight twist. There we go. They actually make a cover that you can cut a notch into it that will fit over this hole and will be wide enough to allow for the gap of the teeth so that you don't have any danger of your material falling through or your fingers going through. In this case, we won't use it because I'm just using a scrap piece of wood. I don't have one pre-cut for this, and I'm not going to do anything that's dangerous. So this is going to be an example of what a dado cut is. If you're not sure what a dado cut is, you're going to see one in a second. There's a dado cut. So if you were maybe building a book stand and you wanted a shelf, you would do a series of these dado cuts, and you could make it just the right size for your wood of your shelf to fit right in here. And that's one example of the use of a dado cut. Thanks a lot for joining us today in the Carriage House Wood Shop and taking a look at the various use of saw blades. You'll notice one thing especially important about the use of saw blades is that if you use them right, you got all 10 fingers. And this is a chop saw.